Folks, before we start this episode of Gaming Penthouse Sundays, I just want to say if you have any extra money, please donate to the American Red Cross. You can do so at, of course, redcross.org here. You can also text Red Cross, all one word, to 90999. That'll take $10, or it'll add $10 to your phone bill, and they'll get it to be able to help those in need, especially those right now in places like Joplin, Missouri, Tuscaloosa, the Oklahoma City area, and basically anywhere that's been hit by these devastating tornadoes this past week, 2 weeks or so. They definitely, there's a lot of people that need help right now, so just try to keep them in mind during these trying times for them, and thank you.
In here to get something to eat. Oh wait, what's this?
Hello folks, welcome to the third episode of Gaming Penthouse Sundays. I am the Atari 7800 Junkie. And yeah, I didn't have a show last week. Between the Memorial Day events and just having a hard time finding time, especially with Zoe, who's she just turned 17 months and she's running everywhere. And she seems to only take a nap when I'm at work, so I just don't have the time sometimes. So there's going to be weeks where I can't get a show in. But I'll have a show in this week at least. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy.
Alright folks, this week I show you everything that I have from my Nintendo consoles and handhelds. And this isn't every game I have. Some games I have downloaded on the Wii. I'll show those at the end. But let's start with what I have up here. First, one game for the Game & Watch, and that is Mario Brothers. Next, two games on the NES, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out and Target Renegade. Need to get that system. Next, all for the original Game Boy, we got Dr. Mario, Game & Watch Gallery, Gradius, The Interstellar Assault, Kirby's Block Ball, NBA All-Star Challenge, Paperboy, Super RC Pro-Am, Tetris, and Wheel of Fortune. Of course, they can be played on the Super Game Boy and the Super Nintendo. Figured I'd throw that in there. And then we've got Super Nintendo games, Donkey Kong Country, Full Throttle All-American Racing, Gradius 3, Hal's Hole-in-One Golf, King Griffey Presents Major League Baseball, King Griffey Jr.'s Winning Run, Killer Instinct, Madden NFL 97, Mario Paint, Mega Man X, NBA Jam Tournament Edition, Paperboy 2, Pinball Fantasies, Super Mario All-Stars, Super Mario World, Super Street Fighter 2, Tazmania, Tetris 2, Top Gear 2, and Yoshi's Island Super Mario World 2. For the Nintendo 64, we got Donkey Kong 64, GoldenEye 007, Major League Baseball featuring King Griffey Jr., Paper Mario, Pokemon Stadium, Rampage 2 Universal Tour, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, Super Mario 64, Triple Play 2000, WCW Mayhem, and WWF Warzone. 5 games for the Game Boy Color, Game & Watch Gallery 2, Ms. Pac-Man Special Color Edition, Pokemon Pinball, The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages, and The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons. Only one game for the Game Boy Advance, that's the Capcom Classics Mini Mix. Then on to the GameCube, we have Animal Crossing, F-Zero GX, Intellivision Lives in the GameStop case, Mario Kart Double Dash, Mega Man Anniversary Collection, Metroid Prime in the GameStop case, Midway Arcade Treasures, NBA Street, NFL 2K3, Pinball Hall of Fame, the Gottlieb Collection, the Sonic Gens Collection, Sonic Mega Collection, Soul Calibur 2, Star Wars Rogue Leader Rogue Squadron 2, Super Smash Bros. Melee, The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker, and then on to the DS games, Brain Age, Train Your Brain in Minutes a Day, Crosswords DS, Deal or No Deal, Diddy Kong Racing DS, Dino Dash Sizzle and Serve, DK Jungle Climber, Guitar Hero on Tour, Mario Kart DS, New Super Mario Bros., And that's the Pokemon Heart Gold version that I actually found in the parking lot at where I work. Here's the Wii games. Data East Arcade Classics, Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock, Guitar Hero Van Halen, Guitar Hero World Tour, Mad World, Merv Griffin's Crosswords, Metal Slug Anthology, NBA Jam, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Super Mario Galaxy, Super Paper Mario, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, The Simpsons Game, Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam, Trauma Center New Blood, and Trauma Center Second Opinion. You know, folks, Atari Leaf has his drink of choice, and I do too. Bam! That's from Speedway. A Cherry Icy from Speedway. They call it a Speedy Freeze. That's good stuff. But on to what you came here for. Got some pickups this week for video games, and I also got some wrestling tapes. I'll start with those first. So, all three of these wrestling VHS tapes were $1 a piece at half-price books. First one here is ECW Hardcore History. The next one here is ECW Path of Destruction that's Rob Van Dam with the television title. And this is ECW Heatwave 98. I got 5 games for the PlayStation 2, and they were all given to me for free by my friend Kyle. He's on YouTube under the name GetHerDone8969. I'll put a link below. So the first game here is Arena Football. Next here is Grand Theft Auto 3 on the PS2. Greatest Hits version, unfortunately not in its original case. Mortal Kombat Deception, or Mortal Kombat. I don't know what I even just said there. Next, TNA Impact with Kurt Angle on it. And finally, True Crime New York City from Activision. The next 2 games are for the PS1. This one I bought at Goodwill for $1.99. It's International Track and Field, which is the sequel to the classic NES track and field game. This PS1 game was also given to me by GetHerDone8969, Kyle, for free. And this is Ridge Racer! Next 3 games I got are for the Mattel and Television. They are all the INTV Corp label variations, and they are all loose, so no overlays, manuals, or boxes, unfortunately. But I got these 3 for $6 at a local game store. The first one here, it just says Dungeons & Dragons Treasure of Tarman, but that's Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Treasure of Tarman. They couldn't fit the word advance on there. Next is Sub Hunt. And finally, World Championship Baseball, which I believe is one of Intellivision Dude's favorite games on the Intellivision, so yeah. And finally, because I'm just kind of weird this way, and because I want every label variation of this particular game on the Atari 2600, I bought this for $3 at Goodwill, so it actually costs more than International Track and Field, but this is Space Invaders, the Atari text label variation. Now all I have to get is the Sears text label variation, and I will have them all. Alright folks, we got a package. This package came from HelsinkirocksAGF. So let's pull out the first item. And just so you know, there's no note, but that's okay. The first item here is a manual to my favorite game on the Atari 7800, Ms. Pac-Man. That's frickin' awesome. Love that, of course. Next here, and both of them come in this PlayStation case. You got Area 51, which I'll have to get into one of my thin jewel cases. And there's no manual. The other game here is NFL Blitz 2001, and that's what this case actually is. So at least I got the back part of the jewel case there. So 2 PlayStation games, but the last thing is what I was really excited for, even more than the Ms. Pac-Man manual. And this is a game from the Nintendo 64. It is a must-own for anyone who owns a Nintendo 64, and it is Perfect Dark, the pseudo-sequel to GoldenEye. And if you own an N64, you have to own this game. So there's the package from HelsinkirocksAGF. Thank you for sending it out. And there we go. Alright folks, for this week's crappy video game mini review, as you see, Top Gear 2 won the vote from last week. And Top Gear 2 is a racing game that came out on the Super Nintendo in 1993. There's also a Genesis port that came out in 1994. So if you have a Sega Genesis, you can get this wonderful game as well. And I don't think it quite uses Mode 6 graphics because, or Mode 7, I'm sorry. You know, the Mode 7 graphics is very famous for the Super Nintendo, but those are always flat terrains. In this game you have hilly terrains. You have a lot of cars you can pass, you have nitro boosts, you can have money bags you pick up on the track, and you know, very, very fun racing game to play on your Super Nintendo. In fact, it's my favorite racing game on the Super Nintendo. Now, there are a total of 64 racetracks that you can go through. And there's a password system, so you don't have to do it all in one sitting. I just show you parts of the first 4 tracks, though, that are encompassed in New Zealand and Australia. Sorry for some of the video difficulties there from the TV. It's just the way this 19-inch TV is. It's just some games you can get real good quality from it, and other games not so much. But anyways, you know, it's just a racing game. There really isn't much more to say about that. You got your map on the top right, and your right underneath your map is your laps and what position you are in on the track. Of course, the map shows you where the person in first place is, unless you are the person in first, so then it's just you. Left side, you have a fuel gauge, which later races you may have to actually refill up. Damage, or a car damage meter, which is actually in the shape of a car, is above that. Of course, all your gears, your nitros. You start out with 6 on each race, so you got to use them wisely, although you can pick up some extra ones on certain tracks. And of course your speed above that, which you can change to kilometers per hour. You can also change your controls to how you like them. There really isn't much more to say about it. You know, it's kind of a standard racing game, but it's very fun. The music, as you hear, is really fun. Although, if you have the ability to hook it up with the stereo jacks or through an RF switch, you'll want to do that to get the most out of your music. Because they like to separate some of the audio onto the other stereo jack, and I only can hook this up in mono on my VCR. So there we go, very fun game. Get it if you can. Now, I had a video for what I wanted to have picked for next week, but somehow it's gone. So the 5 games for next week's Crappy Video Game mini review will be Ms. Pac-Man on the Sega Genesis, Missile Command on the original PlayStation, Frogger on the original PlayStation, Pong the Next Level on the original PlayStation, and Defender on the PlayStation 2. And all 5 of those games are remakes of classic arcade games, so that's kind of the theme for next week. So if you want to see any of those games reviewed next week, make sure you let me know for next week's, or at least the next show, if I am able to do it next week, which I hope that I can. So there you go, Top Gear 2, great game. Get it on your Super NES or Genesis today.
This week's shout-out goes to the wonderful Trouble8385. I'm sure a lot of you guys watching this probably already know who he is, but if you don't, check him out. His main video series is called the YouTube Gaming Community. He's up to the 82nd video in that. And basically what he does is he'll shout out various videos and various small channels that he believes should get, you know, the views. Although with the videos to check out, you know, they can come from some of the big boys as well. But he always shouts out the channels, which I think is nice. People that, you know, may have 100 subscribers or less, and give them that nice boost, especially if they're new on YouTube. And if you are new on YouTube and you're doing your own video game series, make sure you contact him. You let him know you're there. He'll probably give you a shout out in his next video, because that's the type of dude he is. He wants as many people to watch as many video game related channels on YouTube as possible. So definitely check out Trouble8385. As always, the link will be in the description below. And by the way, I love the fact that he has MLB 11 The Show in the background, because I am a baseball fan, and that's just freaking awesome in my book. That's all I have for you this week. I'll see you next time.